I remember telling our manager at the time as well, hey, I think I'm dealing with some depression. And he wanted me to see the brighter side of things. No, y'all are about to go on tour. Y'all got Barbie dolls. What are you talking about? Y'all just signed a crazy big deal with Columbia. I could see myself in a pit trying to get out, just feeling so heavy that when I would make one step, the weight would just pull me back down.
So apparently Destiny's Child was both a blessing and a curse for Michelle Williams on one hand. She was in this mega successful group and was walking into #1 hits. But on the other hand, she was never the favorite for anything. Fans always perceived and treated her like she was the least talented in the group. Even the management of the group would always tell her how lucky she was to be there and that there were thousands of people who were vying for her spot. They expected her to happily stay in the background as Beyoncé and Kelly got all of the spotlight, while she got the criticism over every.
You opened up about your insecurities about your singing voice. You even stated that you knew you weren't the vocal favorite of Destiny's Child. Is that something that, what made you second guess?
You know what? It's not that I was second guessing. I'm just aware. You know, some people are like, oh my gosh, it's stuck. They said it stuck with her. No, it didn't stick with me. You know, just sometimes you're aware that you're not everybody's favorite.
Even up until now, fans won't leave her alone, and Michelle is speaking out about all of the times that she got pushed to the background just so that Beyoncé and Kelly could shine. So let's back this up for a minute. Who is Michelle Williams? Really, most people only know her for being the third and final member of Destiny's Child's lineup, but she had already been doing a lot up until that role. Michelle Williams had a very strong musical background, and she started singing at church when she was just 7 years old. As she grew up, she continued to develop her tone delivery and technique based on what she picked up singing at church, and when you listen to songs from Destiny Shout, it's really not hard to see. The gospel influence is still going strong in the way that she delivers her vocals initially. Michelle didn't see music as something she wanted to do full-time, so she enrolled in Louisiana State University to study criminal justice. But 2 years in, she decided that that wasn't for her, and she was going to try her hand at music. Instead, she started working in clubs, and she got to sing background for Monica. In fact, it was during her stint with Monica that she was introduced to Destiny's Child talk about being in the right place at the right time child. And at that time, Destiny's Child was going through a lot of internal tension due to creative and management differences among the members. Originally, the group started out with Beyoncé, Knowles, Kelly, Roland, LaToya, Luckett, and Latavia Robertson. Since LaToya and Latavia were there from the start, the fans got to know and grow with them. And as the group started to really hit the charts, things started to grow sideways. Both LaToya and Latavia wanted to move away from the group's manager, Matthew Knowles, and get someone else who they felt would look out for all of their best interests. They were alleging that he kept a huge share of the group's profits, and what got on their nerves even more was that he unfairly favored Beyoncé and Kelly. So when they decided to part ways with Destiny's Child, there were a lot of questions about new additions to the group and how their dynamic would change in late 1990. Michelle had already run into Beyoncé and Kelly in the lobby of an Atlanta hotel. Nothing came of it, but at least they were aware of each other now. The following year, Beyoncé started asking around for someone who could sing, and an acquaintance immediately pointed to Michelle. After the much-publicized drama, Destiny's Child welcomed Farrah Franklin and Michelle Williams into the group, thus officially replacing 2 of their original members, but Farrah's time in the group really wasn't anything to write home about. After 5 months of being there, she faded into the background until she was dropped from promotional events altogether. So this made Destiny's Child a solid trio, as the member who came in the midst of all of the drama and shakeups. Fans really didn't have any idea who Michelle was. She didn't come from the Matthew Knowles school of singing and dancing like Beyoncé and Kelly, and she was also just finding her feet in the music industry, and not a lot of people knew about her back then when she showed up.
You know, when I got into Destiny's Child, it was a moving train. So I was learning as I was going, right? I didn't have a lot of the media training and the development that Beyoncé and Kelly had. I came in that group a team player. I came in that group, what do y'all need me to do? Because I knew of these girls who had a dream and an aspect of that didn't work out. How can I come in and help us win? So I always feel like regardless, throughout the years, regardless of what has been written about me, whatever is said about me, I knew my mission. And we had an agreement. We're here to win.
And remember when she joined Destiny Child had already had a pretty solid and loyal fan base who were also sad about the lineup change and really just wanted to see the group succeed. But Michelle was ready to put her head down and do the work. She had a good work relationship with both Beyonce and Kelly that blossomed into a sisterhood. She came in when she was supposed to deliver her lyrics like she was told, and she was always down to work with the management and the group. The trio released Independent Woman, Part 1 as part of the Charlie's Angel soundtrack. Y'all, it did numbers, and releasing this song established the group as a solid trio with momentum at their back. They went on to drop their album Survivor, and if you thought Destiny's Child was already successful, Baby Survivor catapulted them to the top and made them unstoppable. It went straight to #1 on the Billboard chart. It sold an estimate 10 million copies worldwide, and the girls were everywhere promoting this album. And honestly, that's where Michelle began her reign as Queen of Song Bridges. The success of Survivor brought Destiny's Child to a whole new level of fame, and that's when the public really started paying attention to Michelle a whole lot more.
Destiny's Child stan, but you will not talk bad about Michelle and say that they can have a tour without her. You cannot have a Destiny's Child tour without Michelle. Can you do it without LaToya or Latavia? Yeah, like absolutely. But Michelle, there's absolutely no way that can happen. And Michelle Williams has never met a bridge that she can't cross, okay? That girl was the bridge maker and creator for that. Like there are so many songs that she's on the bridge on that brought it home.
But that attention isn't always positive. Standing next to Beyonce and Kelly, Michelle seemed like an afterthought. Beyonce was without a doubt an all-around entertainer, and the face of the group. Kelly was the visual, and a strong singer too. The girls either wanted to be her, or the guys wanted to date her. So when Michelle stands beside the two of them, the public really believed that Michelle just didn't compare. Apart from not seemingly matching the group's aesthetics, Michelle seemed to fall short when it came to their vocal and dancing ability.
Where you at, 106?
Like when I fell on live TV, it took me years to be able to watch that because everybody makes such a big deal about it. And I was like, let me rest when I'm over it.
Yeah.
Okay, it took me a while to get over it.
Why do you think it took you a while?
Because people acted like I was the only human on the planet
To fall.
to fall.
Well, so when Jennifer Lawrence falls on the red carpet, she's more relatable now.
Again, I can laugh at it now, you know. I'm reminded of it probably. It used to be every week that somebody would like do a meme or something.
Oh, come on.
Beyonce and Kelly had been trained for this since they were kids, while Michelle basically walked into the success and the #1 hits. Her dancing was a bit stiff, and while she always tried her best to keep up, fans were always quick to point out her mistakes while propping up Beyonce and Kelly. Michelle did seem a bit awkward and out of place sometimes, but she wasn't used to having all of that spotlight on her and having to deal with the public scrutiny.
To transform myself, it was hard wearing the different types of clothes, and I showed a little bit of cleavage.
She was fine. It took her a while, but she's got it now.
Being in the group also boxed her in, while it was a great platform for her to show off her talent. Most times, she was singing bridges, ad-libs, or background vocals. So the assumption was that she was just given those lines because she was no match for Beyonce and Kelly. In addition, people weren't too happy that Latavia and LaToya weren't around anymore to reap the reward of their hard work and took their frustrations out on Michelle, who really had no hand in it. With all of this success, Michelle began to feel the criticism get to her, and she took it really hard. She expressed to Matthew that she might be depressed and needed some time away, but he brushed her off. He said that she had nothing to be depressed about. The group was doing well, brands were falling all over themselves to work with them, and she was making all of this money. So, what does she have to be sad about, really? It was hard for Michelle to make much use of the popularity of Destiny's Child. Most people don't even remember that she was the first one of the group to go solo. And the one thing that Michelle did great was go that gospel route and sticking to it, because it allowed her to build a fan base like she was unable to do within the group. Her 4th studio album, Journey to Freedom, brought her into the limelight again and did fairly decently. It debuted at number 29 on the Billboard 200s, and her song Say Yes, featuring Beyoncé and Kelly, was so good, and it's still one of her best-known songs. But even though Michelle is doing well and stays busy, people never really look at her the way they do Beyoncé and Kelly, nor does she receive the adequate props. There are still tons of pages dedicated to poking fun at her and showing how she hasn't enjoyed as much success as Beyoncé and Kelly. But right now, it isn't just Michelle who's tired of being made fun of. Others have started to defend her, and it's nice to see that people give Michelle her flowers. I don't think Michelle Williams got the grace and props deserved for coming to Destiny's Child years later, learning everything Beyoncé and Kelly trained for since their adolescence, and still was able to carve out a space of her own. The Bridge Queen deserves her roses. People were hard on Michelle for no reason. She had a ridiculous learning curve, and then was performing next to two people who had been rehearsing since they were kids. It's unfair what they did to her. I just realized Michelle Williams had to learn the songs for 2 albums, lyrics, harmonies, choro, and the chemistry of Destiny's Child in just months. I think she's an icon. But do y'all think that Beyoncé and Kelly stood out more in Destiny's Child than Michelle? Share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe, because there is more coming down the pipeline and you just don't want to miss out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.